What's up, guys? This is Res Roots here. Welcome to Res Roots. I'm excited to be back on Res Roots here. As you can see, someone's a little too wild. So now she's all quiet. But anyways, it's season 2, episode 2 with the On Eagle's Wings veterans. So whatever you are, it's like a first year. A newbie, I don't know, but anyways, it's Res Roots. I'm excited to be back. As you can tell, we're doing videos now, so you guys can see us. So have you guys go around and introduce yourself? So start with you, since you're yes, you can do this.
Hello.
So quiet.
I have to catch my breath.
So just like the Broken Arrow Cruise doing ASMR.
I was listening to that one podcast, and you were all like, chill. What was it? Misfits? They were like, Will's so jazz.
Yeah, he's like, are we on jazz radio? It's like a social club.
It cracked me up. I was laughing. Okay. Hello, my name's Sarah.
What'd you try?
Oh, you didn't see that?
Like, and you move the mic all aggressive like here. So, what's up, Sarah? What tribe? What's your tribe? Your tribal affiliation?
Affiliation?
Where are you from?
Doesn't that mean you're married?
No.
Okay.
I don't even know if I said that right, honestly, but what's your tribe?
I just see it on applications. I don't know. I'm from Mescalero, New Mexico. I'm Apache. Mescalero Apache, New Mexico.
What grade are you in an IBC?
I am sophomore.
So are you enjoying that?
Yes.
Are you having a good time?
Indeed she is.
Okay, she needs a little break. Here you go, Danny. Y'all don't mind her. She's gonna be over here tweaking out. No, I was just joking. It's okay, Sarah.
I'm
We're
gonna be
good.
laughing through the whole thing. I'm so sorry.
It's okay. So we're good. So, Danny. Just say your name, but so what is your name, tribe? If it'd be cooler if you introduce yourself in your language. I think it's got serious. Ooh.
Ocio Nigada, Danny Dawadoa, Daligua, Oklahoma, Janela, Jalagia, Yali, Janela. I'm Danny, I'm from Tahlequah, Oklahoma, and I'm Cherokee.
I'm sorry, okay. I hope the mic caught that. She was just a big old slurp, man. So, Dr. Pepper, sponsor us. Well, these guys just both came back from the movies. Wasn't invited. No, I was kidding.
I'm 85%. No, 95% tired.
Oh yeah. So, what grade are you on, or what grade are you in here at IBC?
This is my third year at IBC. I think I'm a junior, probably.
Yeah, so, something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
All right. So, first question for you guys. How many years have you done OEW? You go first or someone?
I've done 5 years with On Eagle's Wings, starting in 2016.
5 years? I only done one. Okay.
Here you go, Sarah. Take your time.
I done 1 month and 1 year.
So 31 days.
I did. Not even 31. That's like, what's 31 minus 4?
27?
I did 27 days.
27 days
Yeah.
minus what? That's all you're confusing.
27 days.
It's
not gonna work.
okay. It's okay. We're good.
I'm crying. I'm crying because I'm happy. Okay, keep going.
You were talking in the mic.
Oh, I thought I could pick up anything.
Picked up your sniffle, that's for sure. No,
I
it's
can't
not.
have. I need a tissue.
Yes, I was the secretary. Need a tissue. Started. So, thank you, secretary. Appreciate
I'm
it.
like crying.
She's already
over
crying.
here.
It's like we just started.
It was a very emotional year.
Well, anyways, I've done Oew for 5 years as well. My first year was 2014. You guys are probably kids.
Ew.
You said it was hot.
It was close. Okay.
It is pretty hot in here. But yeah, 2014 was my first year. 16, second year, 17, 13, 18, 19. Yeah, I don't know. I'm getting confused now. I'm still stuck on her 27 minus 31 or
I was trying to
something.
be technical.
Oh, I'm sorry. But anyways, I've done On Eagle's Wings for 5 years as well. But I was kind of just curious, since I never been on with Oew after COVID, post-COVID. So I'm wondering, what was that whole process like of being with On Eagle's Wings post-COVID? Remember talking to Mike, Sarah.
It was really weird just being on Oew with having to go with guidelines and wearing masks and having to go through the tribe even more exclusively with like testing and like making sure we didn't have anyone sick as we went into the reservations and stuff like that. And I don't know, going into it after being with the team regularly, it was just like a really big difference.
So what about you, Sarah? As your first day of your 31 days on Eagle's Wings? What was your thought process going into Oew? Was it like scary, or did you regret it, or because I did it too, so I've been there. It's like, all right, what did I get myself into? But yeah, so what your whole thought process was
How
going
far
into.
do I have to be from the mic?
If you're gonna be loud, kind of far away like me. If you're gonna be super quiet, but right there's good though.
Okay, hang on.
Your thought process of going into Oew.
My thought process?
Like, what was on your mind? How were you feeling going in?
That was like 2 months ago. I don't know.
She's like, was I on Oew?
It might have been a dream.
Yes. So I was home. What are you talking about? So I'm on this podcast.
I bring life. Wait, no, I don't. What was my thought process? I gotta remember. So I might be sick. I'm just not finding that out. But don't laugh. Yes. Okay. My thought process. I think. Well, okay. So I decided to go on it. Well, I was actually gonna go on it last year, but I was like, I'm not ready. Technically, God was like, you're not ready, so I didn't go. And I'm really glad I didn't, because I always, like, my biggest fear is, like, teaching people the wrong things and leading them the wrong way. And so, don't make me laugh. So that's why I didn't go last year. And this year I went because I know, like, in the future, I have, like, a huge heart for missions. I want to be a missionary. I want to travel to different countries and help them. And I want to be able to, like, reach the unreached. And because I know there's a lot of countries out there that don't know the gospel or they're not able to hear it. And so I thought that going on Oew would really help me kind of break into practice into that and kind of see what I'm capable doing, and not in a sense of like teaching, but capable of like what my comfort zones are or my fears, or because I've never actually been out to where I was like able to share the gospel and share who Christ is. And so I thought it would be a good kind of like experience before going on where I was planning on going on a year on mission trip. And so I thought it would be really helpful in that, and I applied. I didn't. It was really so that was my thought process going into it, and I was also, I don't know, I wasn't really worried, um, but I think going into it, I was in a very like emotional spot too, and I was very like, oh my god, this is a mistake. But truth be told, I had a job here in Flagstaff at the school, and I did not want to work. So it kind of felt like I was running away, and I didn't want to like go back to my responsibilities. Don't do that. I don't recommend. And and so that's kind of, and so the whole trip actually, I don't necessarily regret it, but I was filled with a lot of like shame and a lot of regretfulness, and I was kind of living in that the whole month. And it kind of sucked because it really hurt me. And then um, when I tried to share like my story of getting to know people, it was actually even harder because I grew up very differently from a lot of people. And there's like this one time where these three girls actually, I was talking to them. And they wanted to know my story, and I don't remember who told their story. And they're like, "Oh, there's no point in like you talking to us, or there's no point because like they done a lot of stuff and they had a hard past." And I'm like, did not do any of that. Like I actually grew up, I didn't drink or like I don't know, sleep with anyone or like any of that stuff. And now the girls were like that. And they were telling me their story, and they thought they would relate to me. When I told them, I was like, "Oh, I actually never done anything like that." And so it really hurt too because they're like, "Oh, what's the point of you being here?" And that kind of got to me a little bit for like a few days, but it didn't afterwards. I'm sorry, I don't mean to laugh. But yeah, so it was kind of a rough time on OEW, and it felt like everyone knew each other. So when I went there, I didn't know I could be so introverted because I feel like I can naturally be an extrovert. But I really pulled away from that this summer, and just like a lot of personal stuff. But I think that it was also really helpful too because I got to know a new godly community and got to make new godly friends and be able to see other people and their perspectives on their story and like on Christ from their reservations. So I feel like that's a longer answer than I thought I was going to give. But this is what I do, by the way. I tend to go on a lot of rabbit trails. I do this so much. So just be ready for that.
What I was gonna say is like, well, she answered like my 5 questions already there.
Podcast over.
So
Thanks for coming to our TED Talk.
Thank you. Good night. No, I was kidding.
Goodbye.
Nah, but I mean that's really cool. Like, I think even like when my first year going in, I even was like thinking to myself like, I'm really like a natural quiet person. I'm like the total opposite of you.
He's very jazzed out.
Yeah, like jazz radio. But like I was really, I struggled with that a lot. I was like, I'm not really good at approaching people, and not only that, I'm not very approachable. And I think my first event that I went to, I've seen everybody like have these conversations, because the debriefs, after the event, people, she was already asleep.
Yeah.
But anyways, so they're gonna be watching this, Sarah. So,
What?
yeah. So,
I'm so sorry.
So Brad, Ron, Nick, you can get on here.
This isn't Sarah.
But anyways, back to what I was saying. But yeah, I totally get where you're coming from, because I even had that same thought of like, why did God put me here in this situation if He's not going to use me or use my story, But the second night, after finishing the first night, some of the guys were encouraging me, talking with me, and praying with me, like, don't beat yourself up, it's only your first night. So continue to pray and continue to ask God where, He'll lead you to the right next person that, you know what I mean? So that's really cool, though, how God challenged you in that way. And yeah, It's like in your whole rabbit trail. I had to go back and figure out what you were all saying. But, no, I'm just kidding.
It's good. It's okay.
That's good though. I was really happy for you too, being on the team. I remember looking at the list. I was like, all right, Sarah made it. Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, have you seen that scene on Alvin and Chipmunk? He's like, the crowd goes wild. So off topic, I know. I do this a lot.
That's like, right, no rabbit trail. Anyways, so my first question for you guys is, how many times you broke number 7? No, I'm just kidding. I was just kidding.
I barely found that out earlier.
When I was I was like, Sarah, I would need you to talk about number 7. And she was like, what? And she was like, she thought of number 7 at Poliberto's, the Mexican restaurant. I was like, yeah, talk about the number 7. So is it good or
I was like, the food.
She thought I was talking about a restaurant. She was like, the combo or just the sandwich or the burrito. And so.
By the way, the number 7 at Poliberto's is 3 mini tacos with rice and beans. It's like my favorite thing to get.
So thanks for the Poliberto's plug.
I really thought I was talking about food.
No, I was just joking about that. Number 7, I was kidding. It was a joke.
So funny, Will. What was a challenge? Again, Sarah answered it in a way. But what was a challenge for you this year being on OEW? Like spiritually, emotionally, mentally, even physically, because it's a lot of work. All the leaves. Not Sarah Lee, but like all the leaves.
Yes. All the Lees and Sarah Lees. That's funny.
Oh man. I think a hard part for me was like just reconnecting. I took, 2 years off from, or 3 years off from On Eagles Wings, and so it was, I was kind of nervous about getting back into the groove of things, and I don't know, I guess making new friends, because we went to the same areas that I went to before, my first and second year, and so I was nervous about seeing the same people that I've talked to the last time I was there, and it was, I don't know, it's kind of a challenge just not being introverted, because it's been a long time since I've seen some of the people, but it was just that family feel, I was welcomed back with open arms, and all those anxieties slowly went away as the month went on, and so it was pretty cool.
How about you, Sarah, if you can remember what you answered?
Just rewind back a couple seconds.
Yeah,
I'm just kidding.
Go back in time. What was the challenge for you? Again, you shared it, but you can share it again. More specific, more detail, more in depth.
More in depth. Great. Okay. Good. I'm gonna figure out how to make it more in depth. Okay. Well, to go even deeper. What did I say?
That's actually a really cool fidget spinner, by the way. I like that.
Yes, I'm really nervous.
Really nervous.
Stop.
Yeah, she's like, I'm really nervous. God.
I am. I'm trying to remember everything.
Yeah, well, want me to ask the question again?
Now I remember it. What was the most challenging thing I went through?
Yeah.
Right.
You can
Not
say
even. Okay. The most challenging thing, I think, kind of what I shared with like trying to connect with people, because it seemed like OAW really wants you to connect with people with your story, and it kind of messed with me a little bit because I was like, I don't know that can work. But one of the things I really learned was not to just hound the people with my story, but like listening to their story, because I feel like the whole point is not to necessarily connect with them because a lot of them can't connect with you. And so I think trying to meet people where they were at in their story, and some would, which was really cool because I feel like a lot of reservations were so dark that they were so open, probably because they didn't have a lot of people to go to. Well, to the people I talked to anyways, and I feel like that really, it was really kind of honoring to be the person for them to like talk to and let all of that out. But I feel like the challenging part was trying to connect with people or trying to get them to talk to you, and that can be a little rough. But and then plus like I think the challenging part is one of the challenging parts for me to even get that started was going to people because I feel like, and no offense to the other OEWers, but y'all really pushed me to go to other people, and I was like really freaked out about that, and they really hound you on that a lot, and I get it too, but like every 2 minutes, give me a break. But I think it's just being able to connect with people with my story because I've never actually done that before. I think that's the most challenging part for me, definitely. A lot of people say that I got a lot of comments of like, you're too perfect to be on the team, and I really am not. I really am not. I just never done a lot of things other people were able to, and I feel like, oh, because I don't have a messed up past, I can't connect, and that really was in my head for a little bit. But I think in different ways that God showed me that through that was really helpful too. So I think that would be the most challenging thing for me. Yeah. Next question.
That's really good. Thank you, Sam. Appreciate that. Yeah, this is a great example of that too. Is I used to work with the Young Life Ministry here in Flagstaff, and there was actually like majority of the kids were native, like Navajo and Hopi, and majority of the leaders were Anglo. And I remember when I first joined on the team with them, they were asking me like, how do you connect with a native kid, and they really had a hard time because the differences there, the different cultures, and I had to help them understand, like, because in a way they felt like they were inadequate to reach these kids. But I reminded them, I was like, regardless of your race or your past or whatever you had, whatever happened in your past, doesn't matter who you are, God is still going to use you. God's still going to use you in their lives. You just got to continue to not rely on your own strength or your own understanding. You just rely on Him. That's who you rely on to reach these people, the lost. So that's what I think of too. Like, because it does, in a way, like it does seem like that. You have to have a hard pass to be on the team. But it's not that way at all. It's God's still going to use you. So transition to my next question is, word preach.
Word.
But I was gonna ask you guys, what was the? I highly encourage you, don't say the name or the place you guys were at, because Brad's gonna come hunt you down. He's like, hey, I'm gonna put the information out there. No, I'm just kidding. Oh shoot!
Already fell.
My unicorn.
My taco.
So let me tell you, Will has this prop thing with tacos and a unicorn.
It's a number 7.
Yes, it's a number 7.
She brought her number 7 here with her.
And it's not even real.
You could literally put your mini tacos in here.
I could. It would fit. I have to go back. What's in here?
No, nothing.
Oh! Oh no!
So she really needs that. You get it. All right, there you go. There you go. The unicorn
Watch
threw us
me
off.
after this. I'll probably be so awake and be like, no, bye. Okay. You can cut that out if you want to.
No. Nothing's being. It's all staying. Everything is staying in here. Nothing's being cut.
I am so sorry
takes
if
too
I'm
much
so
work.
annoying. Oh my
Yeah,
gosh,
that's
I'm
good.
so sorry.
It lightens up the mood.
This
That's
is how I
funny.
naturally am.
It's okay. You're good. We're chilling.
Chill with the dog.
But anyways, the unicorn. It wasn't you. It was the unicorn that threw us off. He just
It
fell
wasn't
over.
me, it was you.
He just fell over, and I forgot the names. Believe it or not, the Hope team named all of
Protein?
named
Oh!
the Hope team. The Hope team named these stuffed animals, and I forgot their names.
Protein.
It's protein.
Protein.
But anyways, let me go back to my question. What was a highlight for you being on the res and in the, I was gonna say in the trenches, but in the court, in the basketball court? You know, like any kind of like a conversation that you had. Like, was it like hard questions? Was it easy questions? Well, it was the easy, but light questions, or yeah, whatever conversation you had on the basketball court.
I think for me the most memorable conversation was on our last reservation. It was actually the last reservation I went to my first year, and I really connected with this older guy. He was in his 50s, and he wasn't there this time, but his son was, and so I got the cool opportunity to talk with his son, and it was crazy because he was updating me on his life and telling me about how his dad is too, and it was just really cool just to hear the change in his life too. He's not serving Jesus, but it's like he's retained some of the things that we've talked about, and yeah, his son was just really open with what we were bringing, with talking to me and listening to my story and stuff. And he let me pray with him too, which was really crazy. His dad didn't let me pray with him, and so it was really cool just to see the fruits of prayer, because I still pray for that individual even still today, because he really touched my life. He reminds me a lot of my own dad, and so it was just really cool to have the chance to connect with his son like that.
It sounds really cool. It's crazy because I think of that time when we were in one of the reservations in 2017, meeting the kid. The kid or actually no, I met the father first. The father was actually he was kind of drugged out already. He was already under the influence, and he was arriving to where we were, and he was like, man, I want to do a 3-on-3. I want to play on a part of it. And I was like, yeah, I think we could sign you up. Probably not too late, But it kind of was, but I just needed another Oew team member. Shout out to Tony Nonick. But he had joined us, and I was talking with the father, and he was out of it. Like, he could barely stand. I was like, I don't know if he can play. I was like, he might hurt himself. And then first game, we checked the ball up, man, he was tearing it up. I was like, holy crap, this guy's really good. Anyways, though, how they do the kind of the wrap up on the second night where they pray and you talk it out with a team member. I was sitting next to him, and he was hearing him actually like pray. He wasn't following the prayer, he was just praying. He was saying like, Jesus, I'm sorry, God, like, I'm sorry, I ask you forgive me for my sins. And he was just praying, and I was just listening to it, and I was like about to cry, And I was kind of worried because I was like, man, what if this guy doesn't remember any of this by tomorrow, And that was like the enemy trying to like talk me down, like, this is not important, it's nothing. But I really felt like, yeah, this guy I think he was aware of what was going on. He was aware of what he was doing. Anyways, the next day, the last night, the third night, I was kind of looking around and see if he was coming, and sure enough, he came. But his son was already there. I just happened to not talk with his son just yet. But he came over, he met me, he remembered my name, he remembered where I was from. and you was like, he's like, hey, this is my son here, and got to meet his son, and both of them, accepted Christ in their lives, and I was like amazed. I was like, oh, I never, and I still stay in touch with them to this day. I'm not sure exactly where they are with the Lord, but I truly believe that God did something there, and He's watering the seed still. And we actually went there the year after. It was funny because they heard we were going back in the area, and they were like, "Hey, heard you coming back." He was like, the father reached out to me. He's like, "Wonder if you want to play with me and my son." I was like, "Yeah, sure." And it was funny because he was like, "Man," as soon as I seen them, they were like, "Man, we're gonna win this tournament, man. We're gonna destroy this." It's like, we lost our first game. And then they were asking me every 5 minutes, like, when are we gonna play again? I was like, bro, they have to go through the whole winners bracket for us. We're already in the losers bracket. But I kid you not, we literally ground zero all the way to the championship game, and we won. We took it all.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and the father and son, they're both really talented in basketball. And I was just kind of the decoy, kind of the distraction on the team. They were carrying me. That was basically it. But yeah, those are one of my highlights of conversations. There's plenty more I can go more and talk about, but I want to give Sarah a chance. It's too late. They can see you too.
Oh, shoot.
No. I don't want to be in there. You can do this, Sarah. You got this.
I laughed at everything. What was the question? I was listening to you.
It was it's kind of like a highlight of a conversation you had. It could be either with an OEW team member or someone that was from the reservation.
Highlight.
Or what does Ron say? God sight?
God sight.
Yeah, what is God sighting? Or praise?
I'm trying to go through. I'm trying to think of all the conversations I had. I think there's a couple good conversations I've had, but I think one of them was with this older lady, and she was sitting on a bench all alone, and I thought someone had went up to her, but no one did, so I went. And I was kind of making small talk, and she was really open. She was very talkable, but it was really cool because I'm not a conversationalist, so that really helped me. And she was just like, "Oh, you guys are Mormons?" I was like, "No, we're not Mormons." And she didn't really understand because to her, she thought it was she kind of thought it was the same a little bit. But it was really interesting, and I think this is the most, I wouldn't say the most memorable conversation, but it really did help me in different ways because she's really into a lot of social, what's the word? I literally left my head. Soteriology?
Soteriology? No.
No.
That's a big word. Soteriology.
No, sorry. Scientology. That's the word.
Okay.
And so
I was like, soteriology is
I've been reading.
afterlife,
Okay. I've been through a whole week of college of all kinds of theology. I'm just ology out of it. But
ology out of it.
I am. And I just read so many books today about theology. But anyways, she was really into Scientology and theology. And so she was really kind of questioning me a bit of a lot of stuff, and I was a little scared because I was like, "Oh my gosh," but I didn't expect this. I mean, you don't. But she was also just really curious of the whole thing, and I think through it's kind of you want to be so defensive so quickly. But one of the things I feel I learned throughout the conversation was she wanted to debate with me so bad, but I think a lot of patience came with her talking to her. And one of the things I learned was okay, it's not I have to be open to hear her out. And it kind of taught me to like, okay, now I gotta be kind of like patient. Well, not patient, but like a good listener. And if anything, like I can be a good listener. But she was talking so quickly, asking so many questions, and it was really cool to see that and talking to her. And then her husband came, and then he was talking to me too about it was very interesting like what they believed. He was very traditional and very believed in the Bible a lot, and he also twisted it together, which was really interesting how they believe like a lot of their traditions in their home is really based off like their own tradition and off like the word of God. And I thought that was really interesting to hear. And I tried talking to them about Christ because they would ask me questions, and it's not like correcting, but like correcting. It's kind of just like, okay, wait, hang on, hold up, let me not tell you, but like at least like show you the right context or the right like, because a lot of times they're really taking a lot of scripture out of context. And it's one of my pet peeves, but I try not to let it show when I was talking to them. So I think that's like where a lot of my patience came from. And it was really cool because I was able to like pull out my Bible and show him that. And so he was really interested in knowing that. And he was really, it was really nice to see the same energy giving back where I was willing to listen to them. They're really willing to listen to me and not cut me off, but kind of hear me out. And I think one of the coolest thing out of that whole conversation was that they were able to leave with a Bible, and they filled out a comment card, and it was really cool to see that. And I hope something comes from that. I don't know. But yeah, and I think that's like one of my highlight of conversations. It was one of the first times I got to talk to other people where they questioned me. And it really gave me a lot of, it was a lot of first things, and it was really cool to just have that conversation.
Yeah, I think that's what's fun with being with On Eagles Wings. Well, I don't know if it's fun for you guys, but fun for me is when I get those hard questions, especially defining the differences between traditionalism and Christianity. And what you were saying kind of reminded me of 1 Peter 3:15. About Peter saying, be ready to give an answer, but with kindness, gentleness, humility, So that's something like, that's what's cool, because then we're here at IBC, and that's what we're doing, is being trained and, going through learning the Bible, learning His Word, the context, and not only learning it, but applying it and living it out, you know what I mean? So I think that's what's cool, is that, you can see that the Holy Spirit was really using you, Sarah, during those conversations, and He will not waste it. So, yeah, that's really cool. And then another question was, I know it's kind of way off, but what was your highlight, or what was a cool thing at WLS this past year? It's like, I would like to share mine first.
I'm like trying to remember WLS.
Mine was spending time with Social Club Misfits. I actually was only supposed to be with them for 10 minutes, but I was about hanging out with them for about 35 to 45 minutes. It's like it took us 10 minutes just to talk and get to know each other first, and then start recording. But yeah, it was actually funny, because even before we started the podcast, they were like, "Will, man, we really love your voice." Like, I wasn't even like doing anything. I was just telling them, I was like, "Yeah, we're gonna meet over here, and we're gonna be right here." It's like, "You guys use this mic, I'll use this one." They're like, "Yeah." They was like, "Your voice, man." It's like, yeah, and like the whole time there's just talking about my voice. But yeah, that was my highlight though. Is
Audiobook.
yeah, it's like. So doing native stories. No, but it was cool though, because like, and it was just kind of like how I picture it, and this is what I told them after we were done. Was I told them, I was like, it was really cool, like, for them to put that celebrity card, you know, in their pocket, and they were just talking to me like brothers, you know, like they weren't like, you know, hurry up and ask us questions, you know, or hurry up, let's get this done. But they were just chilling with me, and I was kind of nervous too because like the WLS the WLS sound crew were walking behind Social Club with a little sign that said "Wrap it up." It's like, but like they kept going, they kept talking, and then their manager came in too. They even stopped in. They were like, you know, they're still going, but then after a while, like they were like, okay, yeah, let's start wrapping it up because they kept bugging us. Like they kept like, you know, there was a whole crowd behind me, so I was like, okay, yeah. But it was cool though. Like they were all there, you know. That's what I really appreciated the most, hanging out with Social Club. But yeah, so any highlights you guys have with WLS?
I feel like for me, I don't mean to sound all deep or anything, but I went into WLS kind of in a bad spot. You know, nothing too crazy. I was just isolated a lot from a lot of people. And so it was cool to spend pretty much the whole week just hanging out with like Will, Icebox, a couple of other guys like JJ, Taylor.
Here, Will. Just kidding. Did y'all see that? Yeah, Will.
I was like
Just kidding.
hearing names and then Icebox. I'm like,
Icebox.
Icebox.
Yeah, everyone knows Icebox.
not everyone.
Yeah, you do. So you know Icebox.
Not in a bad way. I don't.
You know.
It's the first time I heard the
No,
name.
it was like if you see him, you'll be like, oh yeah, that's Icebox. Oh,
He looks
okay.
like Maui.
Maui.
She needs to see him. Like, she'll know. But,
Oh,
sorry,
wait, you mean Moana Maui?
Yeah.
What'd you think?
What other Maui is there?
Yeah, what other Mauis are there?
I got mixed up with Maui and Mowgli.
What? So what were you saying? Sorry.
Sorry, Katie.
I just got distracted by her facial expression. It was like, what's going
No, sorry.
on? Yeah, I love you, Icebox. I really do, man. You're a great brother.
Yes,
Really.
much love.
Sarah loves you too. Still love you, brother. I love you, brother in Christ. So Sarah, you need to stop.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'll record tomorrow.
No, it's good. No, I like this.
This is
For real.
Sorry, we go ahead and
I think just having that time though, like the highlight for me was I was really convicted with like kind of what I'm doing with life, and it's kind of a weird highlight, but you know, most of the time conviction is always like something we don't want to confront, but it's something I really needed. And so, you know, while I was there, I was able to write some letters and stuff and try to patch up some broken relationships, and I was able to write those and actually give them to Will. And you know, because of, you know, just those little steps, I was able to come back to IBC and start working through those relationships that were left broken. I left on bad terms from IBC, so it was just like kind of a spiral of things that led me away from here, led me away from On Eagle's Wings in the first place. And so it was just kind of like a homecoming kind of week for me, getting to reconnect and really just feeling loved. I think that was the main thing, because I had a lot of shame and a lot of guilt. And so it was really cool just to be embraced, I guess.
yeah, because I was gonna say too, like even when I first ran into you this past WLS, I was like, yeah, I can, you know, get sense like that. You're doing a lot better, you know. I was like, man, it was cool when you shot around with me, you know, knowing that you didn't have to, when you went to shoot around with me. I thought that was really cool. And then Icebox being Icebox, you know, like, hey, over 21, you know, just like Icebox being, you know, being Icebox, and it was cool having you there hanging out with us. So, yeah, Icebox, Sarah.
Icebox.
So I was just having like message you
Where
like,
did the name come from?
That's actually a good question. I forgot it.
I think it's because he's built like an icebox. Like,
Yeah.
What?
Do you remember the security guard at WLS?
Security guard? No.
Oh my god.
No, I don't remember no security guard.
Sarah. So,
did you go to WLS?
yeah. So what conference were you
Probably
at?
not.
But
I don't remember no
anyways,
security. I remember being out there till like 1 o'clock. I ain't never seen no security. Yeah. Well, no, I wasn't by myself. Our team, our group was out, and we were talking in the grass till like 1 o'clock. And
so
I
the
don't.
fact that you paused, like, I was out there by 1, like,
Yeah, I was like, I don't remember
so I was
any
like, wait.
security.
It was like, wait.
I don't.
It's like, Sarah, what are you doing out there that late?
Oh, okay. So let me tell you how the week
That's how
was.
it made it sound like.
Let me give the context of why I was out at 1 o'clock in the morning. Starting with day 1.
So you get a little defensive side. Like, good.
No, because I don't like it. I don't like when people like it. Like it. No, the first week of... No, actually, the first week. There's only 1 week. The whole days that we were there, it was actually really, really rough. It was really rough because our group just had so much... I don't know what was going on. Almost every 4 hours, there was like something wrong. And it was kind of frustrating. And it was always like something bad. And it was just I felt really bad for the leaders too, because they were very, like, I don't even remember any of them got to sat through a whole sermon the whole time we were there, or through a Bible council the whole time we were there, because that's just, like, we just had so much going on. Which is why, led up to the event, we were there at 1 o'clock in the morning, because we were talking with everybody and trying to get to, like, just trying to tell them, like, hey, you can't be acting like this. But no, because it was very different from last year when I went. Last year, everything was, like, smooth rocking. And it was really cool. It was just really, it was really nice last year. But this year, it was just very different. I don't remember the question, so I'm going to keep going.
Before you go, it's like here you might go on a rabbit trail and start talking about number 7 at Polybird.
What? It's so funny. Purpling.
No, I was in, like,
No purpling.
What was the highlight at WLS?
My highlight at
It
WLS.
was them.
Okay.
It was like,
Let me go back to day 1. I gotta rethink the whole trip. Definitely not the bus ride. That was a lot.
The bus ride. The buses.
And then Will didn't even get on the bus. It was really
He just threw me under the bus. I was like,
I was like, Will, where are you? He was like, I flew. I was like, oh, okay. I flew.
Yeah, it's all teleported. Jeez. No, I was about to do the bus, and an open seat was offered to me. I was like, sure, I'll take it. Yeah, so I flew. It was funny because, like, Johanna was like, she's like, Will, where are you? Like, she was like texting me. There were some other people that were texting me, like, because they were out here waiting for me. And I was still crashed out. I was like, oh yeah, my bad. So I'm actually flying to WLS now. Oh, okay, so they left. So
Privileges. Okay.
it's all salty. Mad bro.
Don't listen to Will.
Yeah, she's all, I'm done talking.
Take it, Danny. Nova, would you like to speak?
So you said her name. She's a secretary. She's secretary.
That's not her real name.
Yeah.
There's rules? What? What'd you say? What'd you say?
Sarah, what was your highlight at WLS? So if you want to share, if you feel led.
Okay, I'm trying to. Okay.
No pressure.
Okay, this is where I was getting to. My highlight of WLS was really, like, stop. Oh my gosh. Okay. So, like I was explaining, like how the whole week was just nuts with everybody, like our whole group, it was like all the females. We had a larger group this year than last year, so I think that kind of played a lot into it. And I think that's where the highlight comes from, even though there is a lot of messes in that. Like God really used that too in my life because it really gave me a lot of experience to not mentor, but speak into like a lot of the females' lives. Because a lot of them were like 16 and older. And I got to know a lot of them. Like I knew of them. Like I know they go to my reservation, and I seen them when I was like in high school. They're like little babies, and now they're like all grown up. So I got to know them a lot more, and it was really cool too because a couple of the girls like they heard a lot of stories of me, and they heard a lot of like bad things of me, which I don't know who made up the rumor that I was pregnant and had a kid. That never happened. But like they were telling me all kinds of stuff, and I was like, what? And it was so crazy because they were like, I got into like intentionally was like able to get to know them, and I did it like not purposely. Well, that is a word. My intentions were to get to know the females, the younger girls, more like incarnationally, and that was really cool how that played out too, because the girls were really like, oh, you're not who we thought you were, and they really got to see me and like just who I really am as a person and my character, and just a lot of things that they were told just wasn't true. And it was really cool to kind of speak into their lives. It was kind of not, I don't want to say practice, that's not the word. By the way, it's almost 11 o'clock and I'm really tired. So I'm really trying to like have vocabulary. But it was a good way to kind of get into ministry and have those girls there and talking to them. And we would go back and they would ask me questions, or they would say, what do you think about this, relationship advice, all that jazz. And I did the best I could. I just talked them through it, and I think that really was a highlight of my time at WLS, was really getting to know them a lot more and getting to know them on a deeper level, and they were able to share with me. I got to see them at their worst and at their best, and I think that was really cool too. And so now, even to this day, like we're really close, and they'll text me every now and then and ask questions about the Bible or whatnot, and I think that was really cool. I think the highlight is starting new friendships with the girls and getting to know them. Even with the leaders too, I got to know them a lot better, even though one of them's my auntie. And I felt like I didn't really know her. Joy, I'm so sorry, but I love you guys. And it was really cool to see that. And I thought, wow, these people are actually just really cool. So I think just getting to know people closer. I'm trying not to talk too much. Will is like eyeing me out. I'm just kidding. I don't know if I can keep going and not.
I'm sorry. I'm just like all my attention's on you. No, but I think just to really wrap it up, and off mic, off camera, besides all that being here, like I really genuinely really love and care for both of you guys, and it's really cool just to see what God has done through On Eagle's Wings and the friendships that you guys built. Really excited to see what God has in store for you both this semester, and also just excited for you guys as Winter Break Retreat, get to go see them again, and it's really fun being a part of it. I don't know if you heard of it, but you eventually will. Stay tuned.
I'm still thinking about it.
Just go.
So keep going.
Just go, like Brad.
I don't think give us a deadline to like say it. Okay. I forgot this is recording.
But seriously though, like I really do genuinely love and care for you, both of you guys. So it's really cool just seeing what God's done and what God's doing in you guys' life. So thank you guys for joining my podcast, Reservations, and joining and your joyful spirit. So, really, you're just tired, but thank you guys. Appreciate it. So, all right, see you guys later.